Good afternoon and welcome to NYFP. On this Thursday afternoon, the U.S. equity averages are back in positive territory but have come off earlier gains. Joining me today is Sandra Navidi of BeyondGlobal. Sandra, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Remy.
Well, on this side of the Atlantic, focus does remain on Washington, D.C. and the progress of fiscal cliff talks. But on the other side of the Atlantic, we have the Eurozone. Now, earlier this week, the Greek debt deal was reached, and on Friday, the Bundestag will be voting on the Greek aid package. Are you concerned about the implementation, and what can we expect tomorrow?
I'm less concerned about implementation because it's more likely than not that the coalition will support those measures. I'm more concerned about the sustainability of the measures themselves because the assumptions on which they were based are too optimistic. Greece will never be able to pay back the full debt load that it has, and the economy is in a tailspin, the outlook is negative. So really what it should do is a debt restructuring, which of course has other dangers.
And Sandra, sticking with Germany, we will have to see what comes out of the vote tomorrow. But we did get some economic data releases on the jobs front. We saw the unemployment rate come in at 6.9%. And in other Eurozone data, we saw economic sentiment improved. But at the same time, sentiment figures for the consumer, industrials, and services remain in negative territory. So what do you make of the latest figures?
Germany has been holding up quite well, although I'm a little skeptical of the numbers, especially in view of the fundamentals. Germany doesn't operate in a vacuum. It will inevitably be affected, but it has been holding up well. And what can be said is that the lack of demand in Europe, it has successfully made up with venturing out into Asia. That has worked well, but as I said, there are projected corporate defaults, a great number of them for 2013, so it's not that stable.
And Sandra, before we wrap it up, I do want to move away from the Eurozone, at least geographically speaking, and move to Latin America. Now, Argentina was able to get a debt reprieve and temporarily avoid a default. But what do you make of the latest developments, and what are the ramifications for the Eurozone?
It sets a very dangerous precedent because it does have implications in that it undermines trust of creditors. If a minority can undermine an agreement just suing because they say we want all our money back and therefore push a country into default, what it means is that it makes defaults of other weak countries more likely than restructurings because they may eventually not work out, and it shows the necessity, because we're so intertwined globally, the necessity for global rules in that area.
Well, Sandra, thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for your insight on the Eurozone as well as Latin America. Thank you.
Thank you, Remy.